Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm the AVP Wargamer, and today we're going to talk about something that's not aliens and predator related, but it is Tyranid related. And anybody who likes Tyranids has to like aliens. It's just the way it is. So if you've never been to my channel before, like, share, subscribe. I do a lot of unboxing videos. As I get more equipment and do better at this video stuff, I'll improve what's going on in this channel. I'll get some battle reports in there. I really like exploring more than just 40k, but I would like to do a review on the Psychic Awakening Blood of Baal. I don't see very many other people doing it right now for some reason. I don't know. There might be some people out there showing this book off, but I thought I'd give my own 2 cents and talk about the Tyranids section of this book. So I'm not going to do anything about the Blood Angels. I do like the Blood Angels chapter a lot, but I've since changed my Space Marine army to where they're all pretty much Death Watch or AKA Iron Hands or whatever, just black and silver is my color scheme, and I kind of made my own chapter, but I run them as different stuff all the time. But I used to collect Blood Angels when I first started in 40k back in the 90s, and I have like all the Blood Angel characters that were released from back then, and so there is a small place in my heart, especially for Mephiston. There's been a lot of really cool battle stories about him in the games that I used to play, but that being said, here's basically the book. You've got a mission in it, a new mission, like a little last stand kind of thing, with special stratagems that can be played. So it's just got the one mission in this book, and then it's got rules for Blood Angels. Now the weird thing is a lot of this Blood Angel stuff just kind of supersedes what's in the Blood Angel Codex, and has all the new um, uh, rules for all the new Primaris models and stuff like that were released recently in the new Space Marine Codex. So if you don't want to buy the new Space Marine Codex because you already have a Blood Angels Codex, this kind of fixes that to where you can have all the new cool Primaris junk, but you don't have to buy that out of the Codex. And it also replaces some of the rules for some of the weapon stats and stuff. So this is kind of a patch for the Blood Angels. I still would like to see some sort of equivalent of a Primarch being released for them, but I think they're saving that for later. I'll get into more about that later. Okay, so you have your new psychic powers, you have new litanies of hate for your chaplains, special issue war gear, yada yada. Yeah, flesh terrors, all the points, blah blah blah. Blood angels. Okay, so here's your Tyranid section. So if you play Tyranid, you're buying this whole book for only what, like 4 or 5 pages worth of rules. But I will say that this is a pretty cool book to look through. Really good pictures, and the rules that they do have for Tyranids really helps you, especially if you're in the competitive gaming. It's got some new stuff that would really help you out because Tyranids need some love. I don't know how much love this really counts as. I hear a lot of criticism online, but from what I've read, I really like it. So you have these new adaptations. This includes new bio artifacts, stratagems, adaptive psychology, which is this new kind of thing you could add to your Tyranids. Your high fleet adaptations, which gives you new high fleet traits for like custom high fleets. And then you have your high fleet psychic powers, which are very specific to some of the pre-made high fleets. And then you have a name generator for roleplay purposes, just for fun. So new bio artifacts, you have like a bunch of really cool stuff here. You got enhanced adrenaline gland kind of things going on. Let's see. You have extra range added to weapons, and the relic fires an Overwatch. You may reroll a single roll. So it's got some pretty cool new bio artifacts that'll help you out. You got new stratagems. These are actually breed specific for some of the Tyranids. So just example, you have here for your Tyranid warriors, unyielding chitin. Use the stratagem in your charge phase or your opponent's shooting phase when Tyranid Prime or Tyranid Warriors unit from your army is chosen to be the target of an attack made with a ranged weapon. Until the end of this phase, when resolving an attack made with a ranged weapon against that unit, reduce the damage characteristic of that weapon by 1 to a minimum of 1 for that attack. So if you got, a group of Tyranid warriors being shot at by las cannons or something that's going to inflict a lot of damage, this will kind of keep them alive a little bit longer. It's not a great little boost, but it is a boost. Psychic Fissure is badass. It's 2 command points. Use the stratagem at the start of your opponent's psychic phase. Until the end of that phase, when a psychic test is taken for an enemy unit within 12 inches of any Hive Fleet Synapse units from your army, and the test is failed, that enemy unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. That would just rip through a Grey Knight army or a Thousand Suns army. Units that have those psychic powers, you just D3 mortal wounds every time they fail one of those tests. That's pretty awesome. So there are little gems like that in the new stratagems, and I'd love to see some cards released for these. You have your Hive Fleet adaptations. These are new, basically adaptations you can choose to have for your Hive Fleet, and they're for your custom Hive Fleets, basically. And you can basically choose the name of your Hive Fleet and then have those powers be applied to your whole army. Now, a lot of these aren't fantastic, but you have this one where monster models with this adaptation do not suffer a penalty for moving and firing heavy weapons, nor for advancing and firing assault weapons. So that's Morphic Sinews. This is really good when you're running a really shooty army and they just suck at shooting and moving at the same time. Your Tyrannifexes, they hit 50% of the time anyways, and if you move them, they're going to be even worse. So having that is really going to help your army and make them more mobile, and being able to fire those weapons. I could see an entire Carnifex army being beneficial of that as well. So yeah, again, a lot of really good new Hive Fleet adaptations. Again, when you play an army, you can only pick this for each detachment if you're running different Hive Fleets. But yeah, this is going to help. Adaptive Psiology. Now, these are warlord traits that instead of giving it to your warlord, you can give them to units. And there are stratagems where you can play, like this one, Progeny of the Hive. This will allow you to give more of these to more of your units. The monster adaptive psiologies, these are really good, accelerated digestion. Excuse me. In the fight phase, when an enemy model is destroyed as a result of attack made by this model regains 1 lost wound. No more than 3 lost wounds can be generated as a result of this rule in 1 turn. So that's pretty good if you have a bunch of really eaty kind of troops that'll go out there and eat your opponent. So moving on. Adaptive psiologies are cool. Hive Fleet psychic powers. These are pretty fun too. Again, these are very specific to each Hive Fleet. You have your Behemoth, your Kraken, Leviathan, Gorgon, etc. Some of these are pretty neat, like the Hydra Death Shriek. Death Shriek has a warp charge value of 5, manifested until the start of your next psychic phase when a friendly Hydra model within 6 inches of the psyker and within 6 inches of any enemy units destroyed, roll a 1d6, and on a 6, the enemy unit to that Hydra model suffers a mortal wound. It's kind of hard to pull this off, but if you're in the midst of an entire army and your guys are getting killed off pretty quickly, cast that on that unit, and then all the units around them will start taking possible mortal wounds the more of your monsters that get killed. So throw this this psychic power on a whole bunch of termagants. Nobody's gonna want to kill those termagants if they're in the middle of your army, or a bunch of hormagaunts. If for each hormagaunt killed, all the enemy units within 6 inches, you got to roll a d6 every time a model dies, and on a 6 they suffer a mortal wound. Could be pretty devastating if you're wiping out a lot of units. And you got your name generator. It's kind of cheesy. I'm not really into it. Some of the combinations, you could say the Eldar Devils, that doesn't make any sense. But there's it's a name generator. Who cares? If you're into that sort of thing, they have one. I don't think this one's that good, but it's got some stuff if you made your own names and kind of matched the ones that make sense, then it could be pretty cool. And that's it. That's all you get. So, is it worth $40 to get those 5 pages? Debatable, but they'll help your army. So if you're a competitive player, yes, you're gonna want to get this book. Now here's some of my um, uh, feelings on these new Psychic Awakening books. So far, the ones that I've seen aren't really that impressive. Each Psychic Awakening book focuses on 2 factions, so you get new rules for 2 different factions in the game, which definitely is really cool. You know, if you're waiting for more stuff to kind of enhance your armies. And the way Space Marines have been getting all their new upgrades and stuff, they're really hard to beat now in the competitive scene. If you're playing Space Marines, you're one of the top tier armies, obviously. You know, that's what Games Workshop wants. We all know that. But these new Psychic Awakenings, it reminds me of when they switched from 7th edition to 8th edition. They were releasing books very similar to these, releasing new rules and new units and stuff kind of at the last minute. And then they completely scrapped all of 7th edition and went to 8th. Now, I don't think they're going to do that. There's a lot of rumors about 9th edition coming out. When 9th edition drops, if that's really what's going on, I really think that they'll probably still use the same kind of format. They might change some of the ways that you play the game, like the turn orders and things like that. I think we'll still be using these same books, at least until they revise them. And with all the supplements that they've been releasing, I feel like that's coming. I really hope that they release the rest of the Chaos Codexes for Khorne and for Slaanesh. I know Slaanesh, they've been strongly hinting at that's coming up next. So it will be nice to get the Slaanesh army and hopefully a Slaaneshi Primarch like they've been doing with the other Chaos Gods. But so far, I'm kind of disappointed that they haven't been releasing all the other Space Marine Primarchs with all these supplements. Like the Iron Hands supplement, I got that one and I was surprised on how much there wasn't in that book. There was like one new unit, which was the chapter master, and then they had all this, they had all the stratagems and psychic powers, and that was cool, but it was such a small book for such a big price. I felt kind of ripped off. You know, because I don't have the main Space Marine Codex yet. I have the old one, and to get the Iron Hands supplement to be that lackluster was really disappointing. Um, but again, it's a top tier army, and you need these extra little boosty rules to kind of stay in the game competitively. So whatever. If 9th edition happens, which it feels like it's probably coming, I'm hoping that they don't change the rules completely, and that you can still use these books because I feel bad for all the people that bought all that last minute 7th edition stuff for like when Celestine and Gilliman and like all those models were released in the 7th edition, and then immediately everything got scrapped and changed to 8th edition, and then you're stuck with a pile of expensive books. Yeah, I felt bad for those guys. But on the other hand, I do give Games Workshop a thumbs up for allowing people to keep their books and actually get a refund if they had bought it within a certain time period. So that's cool. That was really nice of them. They couldn't they you know they I think they kept a lot of players that way, because it's very possible that they could have lost a lot of players by pissing them off by releasing new rule sets and then immediately scrapping them and then being like, oh, sorry, you just bought our book. Well, guess what? It's irrelevant now. So um, that's my thoughts about that. I mean, these games, they're going to evolve and they're going to change, and we just have to accept that. People, play these games for a certain amount of time, and then they have to change it up to keep making money and keep the players interested. I mean, personally, I wouldn't mind having a rule set for more than 10 years, because then I could really focus in on my army and what it's good at. But then again, power creep happens and new rules come out and new armies come out, and then the older armies kind of get left behind. So we'll see how what goes on in the future. But Blood of Baal, it's a little underwhelming, but It's got some really good stuff for Tyranids in there and for Blood Angels. If you're a Blood Angels player, you have to buy this because it fixes a lot of the stuff in the Blood Angels Codex to update it. And if you're a Tyranids player, you don't have to buy it, but the extra options really does help. So anyways, that's my review on Blood of Baal. Like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for more Tyranid content. And also check out all my other unboxings and other content of other board games and miniature wargaming. See you next time. Bye.